Hello and welcome back to another video. This is Patsy with Patsy Figures It Out. We're finally doing the little sit down that I promised you guys, and we're going to be doing a recap of the year 2022. Quit my job, finalized my divorce, I went back to school. Yeah, so I got a little bit to talk about. Alright, so I'm going to try to keep everything in order. One of the first things that happened at the beginning of this year was that my divorce was finalized. Remember if it was at the end of January or the beginning of February. Regardless, I had actually wanted the divorce to be finalized the previous holiday, but it dragged along a little bit further out. But when it was said and done, I was relieved. I was happy. It had been a very strained relationship with co-parenting. Everything had been very strained because we hadn't finalized our divorce. Once that got finalized, I felt like I could start to mourn the relationship itself and move on and move forward with my life. And that in itself has been very challenging, because when you learn to have somebody that is like a soundboard for your thoughts and ideas and things like that, and just the companionship in itself, I mean, it's soothing. And when you're by yourself and you realize and you know what it is to have companionship, and then you have to rethink the relationship that you have with yourself because you're totally dependent on yourself. You have to relearn a lot of things, which I'm very grateful for, because I've been rebuilding this relationship with myself and it has been pretty cool. I've learned a few things here and there about myself that I didn't realize before. Once that was finalized, I felt like I could take on other things in life. So I decided to quit my job because I wanted to do something that was fulfilling and that I would be passionate about, and I was thinking long term. You know, I wanted to go back to school. I've been wanting to go back to school for a really long time. But before that, I had a friend who had just started a business, and I decided to go help her out. She had just had her crew leave her, so she was in a really difficult place and finding her way through rebuilding her crew. I've worked with people building up their business before, and I thought that I would be a really good help, and I have very good people skills, and I would bring along the things that I have. Yeah, it turns out not just the man in your life will screw you over, also anybody else that has the opportunity to do so will do that as well. I was coming out of a long-term relationship and then trying to build my relationship with myself and build relationships with others, and then to have somebody that I felt like I related to that was also a single mom, that was also trying to build herself up, tear me down in the process of her doing that when I was trying to help, was really hard for me to grasp and understand. And it was very hurtful. So here I am, double hurt. Even when I went to go help the friend, I had already told her that I had made my decision to go back to school. So I had given her a month of my time to try to help her out, because I was in between leaving my job and going to school. So that didn't work out. So as soon as I could, like, I had already started the process of going back to school. So I enrolled into Barber college soon after that. But also in that transition time was when an incident of domestic occurred. I feel like violence in a home can be physical, but it hadn't gotten to this extent until just recently, when I decided to end the relationship. So then that reared its ugly head. Previously, I do feel like I had been a part of mental abuse. So that's another reason why I left the relationship. I wanted to touch base and kind of talk about this a little bit and just put it out there, because you never know who it might help. You never know who is in that situation. You know, there's a lot of shame involved when you kind of come out and you tell people that it happened to you, because obviously nobody wants to be seen as a weak person. 1, 2, people who are going through domestic violence often blame themselves for what is going on. And 3, because I got the news that somebody back in Florida was killed by her partner. So she did not survive the violence, and a young, beautiful woman, mother, lost her life because of it. With me having left a relationship, people may think that I'm pro-divorce or pro-separating families, and that's another reason why it's such a touchy subject. There's so much shame, there's so much things that are attached to talking about TV. But if we can take the taboo off of it and realize that a lot of people do go through it, a lot of people are going through it, and they feel scared, they feel ashamed to speak about it or to share about it, or they don't seek out help because they feel guilty or because they feel embarrassed. I want to end that on this note. Do not stay in a bad marriage because of your kids. Get out of it because of them, so that they can themselves feel like they can do that for themselves as well. It's important to speak up, to say what's right and what's wrong. Sometimes there needs to be a light shed on before it's too late. After that had happened, I was in a pretty low point in my life, and I had enrolled myself into Barber College. I started powering through that, but because I was having a lot of this internal turmoil, I turned to binge eating again. That's something that I tend to use as a coping mechanism. That's why you see that I gained a bit of weight. But I want to be open and honest with you guys, because these things are things that happen to everyday normal people. It's a coping mechanism. It makes you feel a little bit better to eat something that is so good when you are feeling so bad. Going into Barber College in itself was an experience. It is a male dominated area. I also went to a school in the South Side, so it was predominantly a black neighborhood. Here you have a Mexican or white girl cutting hair. On top of that, I'm a female. I think after the first shock and awe wore off, yeah, it was wonderful meeting a lot of different guys that were in different areas in their life. I made a lot of friends. They were super loving and caring and took very good care of me. Yeah, that was really cool. Now that was a good side. Now I'm going to college full time, so I'm not working, so I'm not making money like I would like. I would go to a barbershop that let me go cut and do a little bit of money that way. Also did get a little bit of tips in the barber school, but they were small tip. They're going to a barber college. They were paying $5 for a haircut, and if you got requested or somebody asked for you, it'd be an extra $1. So you would get $1. So yeah, that's not very much. That's I could barely make enough money for gas. It was very challenging to keep myself motivated and to keep going. I wanted to quit several times. I wanted to quit and go part-time. I also thought about getting a night shift. I have to make sure that the boys get to school, so I can't be going to school full-time and then doing a night shift and then expect myself to be in driving conditions in the morning to take the boys to school. So with safety being the priority, I did what I could to do good haircuts, to get good tips. At the end of the day, my ultimate goal was to get in, get it done, and then get out, and then to be able to reap my rewards afterwards. So I'm really happy that I stuck to it, and I'm very glad that I met all of the people that I met. So being that I was newly single, I was going to school, and I was in a very low point in my life, I started attracting very low lives into my life. I got into a few situationships. I made sure to clear my board before the end of this year and just start anew next year. I think that with all of the changes that I was going through, with the learning curve that I was going through, it was really not the time. What was coming at me or to me were not really good or viable relationships at all. Something that I wanted to talk about with you guys that I was thinking about when I was thinking back on the year was that things get better when life gets harder. It pushes through these hard times, and the person that comes out on the other end is a completely new person, and it is a better version of yourself. It's not easy work. You have to really roll up your sleeves and get down and dirty and get to the grind. My motto for last year, or for this year closing up, was slow and steady, because I had to remind myself, I wanted things to happen overnight, but that's not how things work. And I think that in this new era, we kind of get used to getting instant gratification, that we would go through life settling for instant gratification that's not good, because that's what's coming to you. A stable environment, but also a happy environment is what's best. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much. Like and share and subscribe if you like the type of content that I put out. Thank you so much for your good vibes, your good energy, and thank you so much for being here with me today. Have a happy new year. Bye guys.